Thank you, apparently, for bringing Donald Trump along as a viewer, because he's tracking, I guess, everything you say on TV. There you were on CBS on Sunday morning, and Donald Trump wrote this about that. He's on his Truth Social thing. He said, "I had the great privilege of watching Shawn Fain, the president of the United Auto Workers, this morning on Deface the Nation. He is a real stiff." Stiff is in capital letters, so I guess he really means it. "Who is selling the automobile industry right into the big, powerful hands of China." I assume you have no response to that.
Look, this is just Donald Trump and who Donald Trump is. He always resorts to name calling because at the end of the day, he doesn't want people to focus on facts. You know, during his presidency, we learned a new phrase. It was called alternative facts, which what we all call lies. But that's the world he operates under because he doesn't want people to see the reality of where he really stands. He serves the billionaire class, the corporate class. And so, you know, he doesn't want us to focus on facts, just as we did in our contract campaign with the Big Three. You know, we put the facts out there. That's why 75% of America, sided with us in that fight. Because those are the issues that matter to Americans, to the majority of Americans. You know, it's better pay, better wages, you know, health care security, retirement security, and just getting our time back, getting our lives back, not having to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, or multiple jobs just to scrape to get by. That's the economy Donald Trump dreams of.
Let me read you what Donald Trump said about you today. And this is a clear effort to undermine your relationship to the membership of your union. It's a clear effort by Donald Trump to get the votes from members of your union by speaking to them this way. He says, Shawn Fain, this is today, Shawn Fain is a weapon of mass destruction on auto workers and the automobile manufacturing industry in the United States. Is he under contract to China? Now, that is aimed directly at your membership to try to get their votes and to try to eventually get them to vote against you as their union president.
Yeah, look, you know, the only weapon of mass destruction against the automobile industry in America and all industry in America is two words: corporate greed. And that's what Donald Trump's all about. I mean, this is the oldest tactic in the book. It's divide and conquer. This is what the billionaire class and the wealthy do masterfully. They want to divide the masses over race or what color your skin is, gender, you know, who somebody loves, or even border security. We hear a lot about that recently. You know, they want to put a villain out there. They want to create whatever boogeyman they can, to make us fear somebody else, like they're going to take something or they're a threat to our being. They're not. The only threat to our being is what we've witnessed the last 40 years of our lives, where the rich gets richer, the poor get poorer, the working class continues to struggle to get by. That's the economy they love. You know, this is about humanity. And the sad reality is the world Donald Trump wants, they want to talk about competition. They want us to compete with countries that pay poverty wages. And basically, they want a society of slavery. That's their ultimate goal. And we're not going to stand for that. So we're not going to let, our membership's smarter than that. They think working class people are stupid. They're not. Working class people get it. And when you put the facts in front of them, the facts are very clear about which candidate looks out for working class people and stands with workers, and which candidate has spent a lifetime serving himself, and that's Donald Trump.
Are the facts enough, Shawn, among the Trump voters who you know and I know you talk to? I mean, I know Trump voters. I haven't found that the facts are very persuasive to them.
Well, I mean, Trump lives in an alternate reality. I mean, let's be real. I mean, he's devoid of fact because fact doesn't feed the narrative that he wants people to believe in. But I do believe, when you look at our contract campaign, you look at our strike with the Big Three, there's a reason why 75% of American public sided with us in that fight. And those are the issues people care about. People want their lives back. And so, they want a decent wage, and they want to be able to have a job where have a secure retirement where they can someday have an end and actually enjoy their life. Our lives shouldn't revolve around work, and that's the society we live in this country now. Every minute of our day is structured around work. Both parents have to work in a two-family home. or one, if it's one parent, they're working multiple jobs, and that's not a life. And so I do believe when you look at the facts and look at the reality of where both candidates stand, that will resonate with people. But we have to talk about it. We have to keep the dialogue out there.
Joe Biden has announced, the campaign's announced, he's coming to Michigan on Thursday. He's going to celebrate and emphasize that UAW endorsement. Is the UAW endorsement in a state where the election could be very close, possibly a decisive factor?
Sure, I believe it is. And, I believe our members will be overwhelmingly behind him. Look, everything's not always perfect, but at the end of the day, when you look at the record of both of these candidates, it's very clear. I mean, Joe Biden stood, the first time in our history and the first time in this nation's history, a sitting U.S. president joined striking workers on a picket line. Donald Trump had the same opportunity in 2019 when GM was on strike for 40 days and he was president. What did he do? What did he say? Nothing. President Biden worked with us, to save a community in Belvedere, Illinois. It was written off for dead. A plant was going to close. Their administration worked with us. We were able to get not just that plant saved, but get a second plant, commitment for a second plant there. Donald Trump, when he was president in 2019, faced the same situation in Lordstown, Ohio. And he did nothing. And he told those workers, don't sell your houses. And he did nothing but blame the local president at the time. You go back into bankruptcy and back in the recession in 2008 and 9. Joe Biden stood with the American worker and worked for a path forward for us. Donald Trump said, let him fail. And he blamed the workers. So there's two very distinct people in this fight. Joe Biden has a history. He bet on the American worker. Donald Trump blamed the American worker. And that's a very clear choice to me in where working class people should stand in this election.
President Shawn Fain of the United Auto Workers, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.